This is Crime, Mr. Wade, bringing you the stories. Stay tuned for a lot more. Today's unfortunate story is about a John William Agrue. Born September 11th, year of 1947, he was an American serial killer, convicted at the age of 18 for killing his sister-in-law in Illinois in the year of 1966. He would later be paroled and moved to Colorado, where he committed at least 2 additional murders in the year of 1982. He never stood trial for those later crimes. On July 21st, the year of 1966, an 18-year-old Agrue met with his 15-year-old sister-in-law, Suzanne Moreno, in downtown Joliet, Illinois, and he asked her to accompany him to a nearby Hamel Woods Forest Preserve. When they arrived there, he began making romantic advances towards her, only to be promptly rejected. Angered, pissed off, Agrue pulled out a knife and stabbed her approximately a dozen times, killing Moreno in the process. Later that day, he returned to his home and admitted the murder to his wife, who initially did not believe his claims. To prove his guilt, he drove her to the crime scene and showcased where he had left Moreno's purse and shoes. After this, Agrue's wife began arguing him to surrender himself to authorities. He instead went to a local church and confessed to the priest, who promptly contacted the authorities. Agrue was taken into custody 2 days later, and during subsequent interviews, he admitted that he had killed Moreno because she opposed his advances towards her. Due to his confessions and overwhelming evidence implicating him in the crime, Agrue was swiftly convicted, sentenced to 20 to 50 year prison term, and transferred to Joliet Correctional Center. In December, year of 1975, Agrue was transported to the University of Illinois Hospital in Chicago, where he was undergo surgery to donate his kidney to his sister, Kathleen. For this occasion, about 50 prison employees volunteered to supervise him on their days off, as there were fears that he might use the opportunity to escape. The operation was delayed until May 4th, and after its success, he was ordered to maintain and remain there until he could recuperate. On May 11th, Agrue was reported missing from the hospital by one of the security guards. Earlier that day, he had snuck out of the bathroom window and stole a car, which he abandoned after reaching state lines. From there, he used 2 fake IDs, hitchhiked, and stole another car during his travels through the various states, where his supposed destination would have been California. About a week later, however, he was captured in Central City, Nebraska, after somebody reported that they had seen a car stolen. That was reported. Agrue offered no resistance during the arrest and was later extradited back to Illinois to serve the remainder of his sentence. In January, year of 1982, Agrue was paroled and decided to move with relatives in Colorado. He initially lived in Boulder before moving to Longmont. In late June, year of 1982, he encountered 20-year-old Susan Becker somewhere in the vicinity of Boulder and proceeded to stab her 13 times in the chest, clavicle, and neck. After killing her, he dumped the body in the Boulder Canyon, where it was found by the fishermen on July 1st. Whilst he was considered a suspect in her death, Agrue was not thoroughly investigated at the time and was eventually written off by investigators. A week after the discovery of Becker's body, Agrue stabbed to death his neighbor, 94-year-old retired librarian Oma B. Smith, at the latter's apartment in Longmont. He later discovered her body in the nearby Big Elk Creek Meadows, where it was found on the following day. 6 days after that, Agrue attempted to abduct a woman at knife point on the campus of University of Colorado Boulder, but was apprehended on the spot and lodged in the local prison. At that time, he was publicly identified as a suspect in the murder of Smith, but prosecutors could not bring charges due to lack of concrete evidence linking him to the crime. In March, year of 1983, Agrue was convicted of the attempted abduction and given a prison sentence, but was immediately returned to Illinois for parole violation. He remained behind bars until the year of 1989, when he was paroled yet again. This time, he decided to remain in Joliet, where he lived for the remainder of his life. Since his last release from prison, Agrue had been linked to many violent crimes, although one of his neighbors reported that he had bragged about the murders in private and exhibited over disturbing behavior. Because of this, she sought to have a restraining order against him, which was not granted because Agrue had not harmed her personally. On June 29th, the year of 2009, Agrue was found at his home in Joliet from what an autopsy determined to be an accidental overdose of prescription medication. While inspecting his home, relatives found women's purses and jewelry in his home, as well as newspaper clippings about the attempted abduction and the murders of Becker and Smith. After his death, investigators found a cold case unit began testing DNA to determine whether he was truly responsible for the murders of Smith decades prior. Almost a year later, his DNA was successfully matched to that of the Smith crime scene, with authorities announcing that they had officially solved the case. At that time, he was still considered a suspect in Becker's murder as well, but due to the lack of usable DNA in that case, they had to resort to other means of investigation to solve it. In May, year of 2013, authorities announced that due to the similarity to Agrue's other known murders and other evidence that placed him near the crime scene, he was considered the sole and the most likely suspect in Becker's murder. Because of this, Agrue was plausibly labeled a serial killer, with state police and the FBI announcing that they would be reviewing other cold cases to determine whether he was responsible for any other further violent crimes. As of July, year of 2022, no other cases have been linked to Agrue. I hope you enjoy this unfortunate story. I'm Mr. Wade and Mrs. Crime. And once again, we bring it to you.